Hey, how's it going everyone? It is Drago. We're back with another fairy tale video. This time we're going to be talking about the filler arcs within fairy tale, because it's something that I personally haven't really covered at all on this channel, and I think a lot of people just kind of neglect to talk about in general. There's 3 anime-only filler arcs. There is a bunch of episodes that were one-off chapters or light novels that got turned into anime episodes, but I'm not going to cover those right now. And obviously filler arcs do get looked down upon, but I really do think that these are actually generally worth a watch. I'm just going to do a general overview of things that I liked in all these arcs. I'm not going to do a complete breakdown of every single arc. So going in order, the first anime-only filler arc that we got was the Daphne arc. Kind of interesting because there is a bunch of things in this arc in particular that come back later, and I wonder if they were using these as like ideas and whatnot. Because you have the dragon lackey soldiers that Daphne created. Obviously, if you go down to the movie Fairy Tale Dragon Cry, the Dragon Slayer robots in that movie are honestly very similar to this. And probably the biggest thing that got revisited down the line was Natsu versus Gray. And I'd say their fight here was pretty decent. It wasn't anything off the level crazy, but I think their fight is very enjoyable, and I think there's a lot of cool things that happen throughout it. And another idea that gets revisited later that happens in this arc is Gray being used as a kind of secret agent, looking like he's betraying all of his friends, but he's secretly not betraying them, and that he never switched sides, but he wants to look like he's evil for the bad guy to get their trust. Basically what he did in Avatar. So those are kind of the things that get revisited later from this arc. So I have a bunch of notes I just wrote about this arc, so I'm just kind of like flash through all those notes. I totally forgot that this is the arc that has Urza buy like 1,000 cakes, and like the baker's like, oh, who are these all for? And she's like, I'm just gonna eat them myself. I've always loved that, how the baker is so shocked that like Urza's gonna eat like this many cakes. Daphne herself seems to have a decorating style very similar to Miliana, because she has a bunch of like cat plushies all over the place. Kind of speaking on Daphne herself, I'm not so in love with her. I mean, she is the one kind of unique anime filler villain, because every other villain is basically a character we already have. Her personality can be a bit much for me. I do like the idea that she was so obsessed with dragons after seeing a dragon, and I wonder if that dragon was actually Acnologia. And I actually generally do like her whole thing of making a fake dragon and you having Natsu as the power source, which is kind of ironic that, he's such a unstable power source that it's kind of her undoing. So kind of talking about that whole fake dragon stuff and Natsu as the power source, I love the whole guild fighting against the fake dragon. Everyone kind of gets a spotlight throughout this whole fight. And you get some very cool moments throughout this fight with Gray and Juvia doing a unison raid. Really like that Gajiel's the one to free Natsu from the fake dragon, and he's zapped of power, he needs a boost. And pretty much everyone in the guild that has the ability to make fire makes fire for Natsu, causing a massive explosion, obviously giving a massive boost. I think that's such a cool moment, seeing all the guild, making fire in some way to give it to Natsu. It's very cool. And Natsu himself defeating Daphne, I love that glowing eyes effect, and you get like the body silhouette. I miss that so much in Fairy Tail. It is such a cool thing that they did, and it's a cool way to defeat her, and even having like the Igneel behind him as he's doing the attack. It's so cool. For an anime only arc, this one is remarkably short compared to the rest of them. It's only just a handful of episodes, which kind of takes you into the next filler arc, which was Key of the Starry Heavens, which was taking place after the time skip. And it had definitely some very interesting choices for characters that it brought back, with Urza and Gray fighting a older version of the Vanished Brothers, which is an insane callback because that was like one of the first people that Natsu and Lucy fought in the Everloom Mansion. Then you get some of the Sace, and then Aragorn and Earthland versions of some of the Daedalus characters. I think for me, the most standout part of this arc in particular is Lucy and Michelle's relationship. There's a lot of twists with Michelle, because obviously you have her like turn evil, but then not really. But the biggest twist, obviously, is that she is the doll that Lucy had as a child. And I think overall, it's a pretty happy ending for the two, because, obviously she kind of reconnects with that childhood memory of hers and, has the Michelle doll still to this day. Natsu going to fight Loxus at the beginning of this arc, I find just quite funny that he's like hyping himself up like it's going to be this giant battle, then he just proceeds to get one-shotted. I love that Gajiel was going to be like the next person up, and then he's just like sweating in the background like, yeah, I'm going to pass. I got something else to do right now. Kind of love the fact that Gajiel goes away and he's training and he's literally getting struck by lightning to potentially defeat Loxus in the future. So the key at the Starry Heavens book that is used quite a bit throughout this arc, when they animate those sections, it's a completely different art style and those look really cool. So the Sace giving up something to gain a power is kind of a very interesting idea and very similar to curses in a way, because that was like the initial premise of them. Obviously some of them are better than others for what they gave up, like Cobra gave up his eye. So, obviously explains why he's missing an eye in like the Grand Magic games, because otherwise, without this anime arc, I don't think any of that really got explained, or like how Angel has a new magic now. But going back to like them giving up powers, like Aragorn and Racer just like gave up their mind and like humanity and whatnot. I mean, not the greatest way to live if you gain a little bit more power, but you don't even know that you gain more power because you're not even yourself anymore. And obviously this is where you start setting up the Kinana and Cobra stuff, with them eventually, getting engaged. This arc in particular is kind of cool for that. And the final battles all being centered around this clock, putting a time limit on all the fights, because, if you let it fully reach its time limit, bad things are going to happen. So we gotta, defeat everyone right now and save Lucy, because it really did raise the stakes of everything. And finally, with this arc ending with like Lucy falling from the sky and Natsu catching her is a really great moment. I really like that. Talking about the eclipsed celestial spirits, I think the way that this arc opens is my absolute favorite of the anime filler arcs. Absolutely love Lucy and Yukino doing stuff with their spirits to make up for them helping, close the eclipse gate. That is like one of my favorite episodes. I really like that one. Additionally, that episode and kind of throughout this arc is a really great setup for when Lucy's about to lose the Aquarius key, and I think it adds a bit more emotional setup for those moments. Overall, most of the Eclipse spirit designs I think are pretty good. Most are very different from their original counterparts. Some are pretty similar, aka like Virgo. I do like how they all look very different and act very different. And honestly, throughout this arc, it really does showcase Lucy's love and care for all of her spirits. Also, you get a pretty good look at other versions of Plu and additional silver keys that come into play quite a bit in this arc, since the gold keys are off the table, which is kind of a refreshing bit because you don't get silver keys used that much anymore. When they're going to try and, capture each of the spirits, they each go into a separate door with a separate person following them, and I like how each spirit's area was very unique to them, and they had their own unique challenges within each area, and they were all very different, from Kana being in a Yu-Gi-Oh card game, to a dance battle, to a quiz show, to some being just straight up fights. And this arc in particular has quite a few memes that have spawned from it. Getting into the ending of this arc, Lucy, Yukino, and Hisui all teaming up, I think that's kind of a cool bit. The final battle taking place in the celestial spirit world is a very cool setting. And with the battles against the Eclipse celestial spirits wrapped up, they have a big party, and I absolutely love this moment because you get like all the spirits giving their keys back to Lucy, and even Aquarius goes and gives her key back to Lucy, showing, you know, how much they care for her. And just like all the other moments too that you guys see, like the celestial spirits interacting with all of her friends. And Aquarius actually having a nice, like, civilized moment with Lucy, you know, actually smiling and being nice to one each other is very, very cool to see. And I absolutely love how this arc ends with Lucy looking at her keys, smiling, you know, just showing how much she really loves them. So what are your guys' thoughts on the filler arcs within Fairy Tail? Leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and this is Drago, signing out.